Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of The Walking Dead Season 6, which is the big one, Season 6, Episode 3, called Thank You. And so one of the biggest episodes of The Walking Dead ever, no question about it, no doubt. So, spoiler warning, major spoilers. And if some of you guys watch my reviews before you see the episode, you know, my brother's in the UK and anywhere else on the planet that hasn't seen it yet, I'd highly recommend for this week you wait until tomorrow until you get to watch the episode first before you watch any of my videos right now. I'm going to avoid spoilers with regards to thumbnails and things like that. This episode was humongous. We've got people arguing in the comments now. We've got people saying he is dead, he isn't dead. Nicholas's body fell on top of him. When the zombies were going in there, they were ripping apart Nicholas. So Glenn's going to be covered in blood and maybe he'll survive. And, you know, this whole kind of craziness. So that hadn't occurred to me because when I watched it, I'm like, it looked like he's getting ripped apart to me. I don't know. I mean, he looks scared. You see zombies everywhere. And it's just, you know, this isn't a reaction video. The reaction video was done, so we'll see. You know, topic of discussion for this week. That's the big one. Is it possible that Glenn could actually be underneath Nicholas's body, which is on top of him, and they're ripping Nicholas apart, eating, and somehow Glenn's going to be able to crawl out of there hand and foot or covered in so much blood the zombies won't be able to recognize him or something, and somehow he's going to get out of there. It's possible. The thing is that we've got some spoilers from later on this season where you still have Stephen Yeun that is in filming, right? So that kind of throws a curveball through the whole thing. It's like, well, why is he still in filming later on in the season, you know, if he was killed off here? So, you know, the internet's blowing up. People are going nuts. It looks like, the way it's shot, to me anyway, looks like he's dead. That's the way it's shot to me. When I watch it, I interpret that as, oh yeah, he's a goner for sure. He's dead. No question about it. But, you know, people say, like, you know, the way he did fall, you know, he did kind of fall after Nicholas shot and he went to grab him and they kind of fell and who knows? But the way I read it was that he was killed. Good luck, dumbass. I mean, yeah, good luck, dumbass. That's it. You know, if you're going to get out of that, good luck, dumbass. You got to be one lucky son of a bitch. I don't care if Nicholas fell on top of him. I don't care what the exit strategy is. Regardless of the case, if you get out of that, then you are one lucky dumbass. That's for sure. So, absolutely insane, crazy episode. I was shaking all the way through. This was the scariest episode of a show I've ever seen. I mean, The Walking Dead has had some horror aspects to it before, and, you know, there's lots of scary horror movies out there and that kind of thing, but when you care for the characters, it's much different from when you're just watching a regular horror movie and it's like, oh yeah, so-and-so got killed and this person gets killed and everybody dies at the end of the movie. That's the way it works. Everybody gets killed. That's much different than when you watch a show that you've been watching for, you know, 6 years, read the comic books beforehand, and, you know, really get attached to the characters in the show as shit goes down. You really worry for them because you don't want to see your favorite character get killed, and then, you know, something like that happens. So this one was the scariest episode so far for The Walking Dead. The feel of the episode was incredible. The zombies just feel like a force of nature as they're coming in, you know, like a tidal wave. They're just coming in all directions. Nicholas getting confused, like, where do we run? Oh, this way. Yeah, it's that way. Let's go. And then they get, you know, closed off and oh my God, so just absolutely crazy. You know, I mean, getting on top of things, rooftop maybe, is about your best bet in that kind of a case, and just using the high ground to systematically try to either, you know, kill the zombies under you or, you know, just try to keep them down. But then again, you get the problem where the bodies would pile up and they'd crawl up on top of each other and eventually get to you. So, man, that part was insane, you know, absolutely insane. And the episode starts off with Glenn in the very first scene. The very first clip, you see Glenn, you see them running. You've got Rick, he tells him to get back. Then you've got the zombie threat. All these zombies come in. Instantly, the Alexandria characters start to have a lot of trouble. You know, they're killing off the zombies. Michonne comes in. She's like, hack and slash through all of them. No problem at all. The others, you know, they're going in and they're getting, you know, tied up or hurt or whatever the case may be with the zombies. They're shooting off firearms and the whole bit in the beginning. So it starts off really, really exciting. You've got Daryl. He's, riding around out there. He wants to go help the group, but yet he feels like, he's got to stay on mission, but he can't help but help, and he knows everything's going to shit, and yet Rick has given him this job to do that he just, at what point does he stop? Sasha and Abraham, I guess somebody has to lead it away. Do they figure they've led it far enough yet? No, they got to continue, stay the course. This is the plan, stick to the plan type of deal. Just chaos and confusion everywhere, people not answering their walkie-talkies and all kinds of craziness. Really sad when Rick walkie-talkies Glenn and he gets no response. That was crazy. And then, of course, gets attacked by the wolves that we saw leaving that Morgan let out and ends up killing him. Probably my favorite part is he shoots the two and then he grabs he sees them in the rear view and he goes through it with the assault rifle. He just lays them out. That was crazy. And then even at the end there, too, how's he going to get out of there? What's he going to do? Just abandon ship and just run on foot? Or is he going to stay and keep trying to fire up this stupid RV that has trouble starting that Glenn's already fixed, I think, once or twice, right? You even tie that back to Dale earlier on the series, the symbolism of the RV, I suppose. So, oh, man, crazy episode. We had Michonne in there. They had the guy who was dying because he got bit, and then he had the note, and that was pretty emotional and sad, too, because she's all optimistic, as she usually is, telling him, no, you're going to get back. You're going to make it back. She gives it to him instead of taking the note herself, which was really sad when he gets up against the metal and all the zombies are on him, and you just see it there. It's like, holy shit. So we got Nicholas who... Glenn let him live earlier on, and now kind of similar to the Carter situation, he has actually caused damage. Glenn probably would have been better off on his own, without him there, I would think. So, but who knows? Maybe Nicholas's body will turn out to save Glenn in the long run, according to you guys. We'll see if that's the case. And we'll talk about this week. We'll do a video specifically for that, where we can argue back and forth. We can get our points across, and we can discuss if we think Glenn could actually possibly get out of there. It's crazy. So, let's see. Good luck, dumbass. No shit. So, crazy stuff. Got Michonne giving Heath the business, telling him that he has he doesn't really know what he's messing with here, and he hasn't had a situation where you run, but have you had a situation where you're totally covered in blood because there was no way out, so to speak? So there's that. That was a good scene, and liked how that kind of tied in at the end when he looks in his reflection in the water and he sees himself. He sees that Michonne was right, really. And then Rick in the RV, and then the crazy part at the end. So, that's basically the episode. Just an intense, insane, scary episode, This season, you start off episode 1, which is like some people were disappointed with it because it's the start to a big storyline that's starting with this amount of zombies that we've never seen anything like before. This amount. Maybe since like season 1 at the beginning in Guts and that, just seeing the street full. And that's one of my favorite parts about it, is that it makes you feel like that with the whole Glenn thing and everything, the walkie-talkies and Rick and the whole bit. And you just have this storyline starting, episode 2, crazy with the wolves and everything that happens at Alexandria. Then you have it tie into this episode. You hear the gunshots in the background. You see the wolves attack Rick at the end there. No good to shoot. They're no good at shooting, which makes sense. They weren't any good. And Rick is a killer, at this point. He's a killer. Even the wolves, they may have some kind of hesitation. But Rick with, his Magnum or revolver, he's as fast with that as you could possibly be from killing zombies over time. So I didn't feel like it was unrealistic that in the scuffle, he was able to get his hand on the gun, and because he knows how to use it, the wolves don't, was able to put the 2 down and then put the others down just because of how tough he is as a survivor. So the sound was good, the scary sound, the direction was amazing, the episode was just all around. So many zombies, so much action, so much craziness. I could have never imagined earlier on in the show, when we started watching this in season 2, when you had a whole episode with one zombie in a stupid well, compared to something like this. I could have never imagined at that point that they would have turned the show into something like this. So, again, it's like, how could I not give this episode anything but perfect score? I mean, this was an insane episode. You can rate it lower if you hated what happened with Glenn. You can argue it right now. I'm sure that we'll be arguing it all week back and forth, and we'll be dissecting it and looking at it. Heads up for that if anybody's new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, you want to subscribe to join in the conversation and everything in the comments. Just an insane episode, man. 10 out of 10 for sure. Best episode so far this season? Yeah, this outdoes JSS for me. I mean, JSS was crazy. I didn't think we were going to see anything like this. This was insane, man. Absolutely nuts. So, wow. Write your comments below, guys. Let me know what you thought about this week's episode. I think that's pretty much everything I want to say. I'll do the predictions in an hour or two on what I think is going to happen in episode 4. It's our flashback episode with Morgan. And then maybe we'll do a top 5 best moments. I think that makes sense for this week's episode if it made sense for episode 2. Insane stuff. Best start to a season ever. I thought season 5 would be untouchable as a start. But season 6, after this episode, yeah, this is the best start so far, for sure. Write your comments below, guys. If you like the video, please don't forget to thumb it up. Please click that thumb up below. It helps the video. You can share. You can favorite if you have Facebook. You can share through to Facebook or Google+, whatever you got. Favoriting also helps. And if you're new, be sure to subscribe. You're going to want to subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you again in about an hour or two with the predictions. As always, it's Trev. I'm saying peace.